I want to cover in this video something that I feel like gets talked about too little, and that's the actual strategic approach to producing your own content as an actor. I know a lot of actors who are producing their own content, even feature films, but it doesn't seem like there's a real strategy behind it. And the topic has come up enough now for me to feel like it warrants making a video. I'm not going to say people are doing it wrong, but in my opinion, it's not the best way, what I've seen in general, 90% of actors doing out there. And this also applies to directors and writers who are trying to get their own stuff out there in festivals, whether it's a short film, sold, if it's a feature, pitched as a pilot, whatever it is. Here's what I mean. Normally what happens is actors are frustrated with not getting a lot of roles, having no control over their own careers, so they wisely decide that they're going to produce their own content. And they come up with a good idea between some friends, and they go out and shoot it, and it might go to festivals, it might not, but really their career doesn't necessarily grow as a result of it. And here's why. There's not a clear strategy behind the production of it. I've almost heard no actors tell me, when I ask them, why did you make this film, a good reason that makes me feel like they actually thought about, okay, where do I want to be, what do I want to be doing, and how is this film going to act as a vehicle to get me there? And that's fine, it's not their fault, but nobody ever taught actors or creatives, and this is part of what I don't like about acting school and film school. I think what they get all wrong is that they teach you the craft, the history, different tips and tricks on how to master your craft. And that's fine, but if you go to business school, you learn how economies work before you start choosing your direction. And I feel like what I help actors do in understanding the business, not of acting, the entertainment business, how the whole thing really works, and why marketing and branding is important for a strategy to move forward. That's completely lacking. So it's through no fault of your own that you don't have this information. So take this video seriously, because even though we can't cover everything, we can cover enough to help you wrap your head around what to do, how to do it, and why you should be doing it. There's a lot of acting coaches out there who say don't, pigeonhole actors. You should be able to do whatever you want. You should be a blank canvas. And some casting directors even say, well, no, just give us a neutral headshot. We want to figure out how to mold you. And I think that's not true at all, because people are not as creative as they think they are. And that's why there's a whole business around staging homes, because when people walk into a home and they see an empty space, they don't know what to do with it. But if you just put some furniture there, suddenly everybody thinks, oh, what a neat little corner. We could use this that'd be so great. Oh, look, and there's a little office over there. So that's just how people are. We're not as imaginative or as creative as we think we are. And maybe once in a while there is somebody who can really imagine you as whatever they need. But for the most part, showing them something relevant is the way to go, because you don't want to rely on somebody's level of imagination to give you work. Okay, this is your livelihood. So if that makes any sense, here's how it applies to self-production. When you create a piece of media for yourself, as an artist, as an actor specifically right now, you need to know your brands, your type, what I call your inner heroes first. And I'm not talking about the cop type or the lawyer type. I'm talking about very specifically what kind of character type. Like what is your characteristics? Are you nurturing, positive, empowered, aggressive, conniving, backstabbing? And that might seem very, very specific, but again, you're developing a character to produce a piece of content. You shouldn't make that character generic, and you shouldn't make it whatever it is, like just randomly. You should have a very clear goal for that. And for that, you need to know your brand, and that means you know where you belong. You have to set your goal at where do you want to end up, ideally. Do you want to be on shows that are sort of like Stranger Things on the CW? Do you want to be on a procedural television show, cop show like NCIS or Law & Order SVU? Do you want to be a Grey's Anatomy kind of person, series regular there? Do you want to do big action movies like Tom Cruise? Or what's your thing? Your main thing. This doesn't mean you're never going to do anything else, right? So before you start getting into this, but that's typecasting. No, that's marketing. This is for your outbound. This is for how you're setting a strategy up. That doesn't mean if somebody offers you a role for something else, you can't take it. Danny Trejo is like Mexican gangster number one, but that doesn't mean he doesn't do roles where he's not Mexican gangster, okay? That's just how you are positioning yourself to cut through the industry, because you have to do something to penetrate through and to be known for something. Otherwise, you're known for nothing and nobody's going to remember you for anything. So to be remembered, you have to be remembered for something. And because the real auditions for the real jobs, the juicy jobs, they don't go out to breakdowns. They're decided on by the filmmakers usually well before, because if you're thinking about a series regular cast and leads for a movie, the first thing the producer and director are going to do is they're going to reach out to everybody they know and say, hey, do you know somebody like this? Or maybe they have an actor in mind, and maybe they even thought of somebody they already knew that they want to call in. So you have to be on people's minds, ideally. That's really how you end up getting better jobs. If you're on the people's mind who are writing films, writing TV shows, and that means you need to be remembered for something. You need to be seen as something at some point to be recalled as that. And then you can penetrate with that, and then once you're big, you can do whatever you want, right? Steve Carell did it, Jim Carrey did it. Like, that's just the way things really work. Now, acting coaches out there and other, acting gurus, they want to tell you, audition more, and sure, audition more, but you're going to get more co-star roles, if that. You're going to get more small roles, because that's the overflow of what we couldn't find by reaching out to all our friends. All right? So normally, here's how the process goes for casting. I'm writing a script as a producer. I'm developing a script as a producer. I bring a director on, or maybe the director's writing a script. Their main characters, they might already know a friend who they want for that. Okay, so they're writing it in. And then for the other roles, we discuss as a team when we're developing it, and sometimes in pre-production, only who do we know that might be relevant for these, that we can bring in to test. And then we might go on Instagram ourselves and go hunt around a little bit and look through databases that we already have. Then we might bring in a casting director, or we might just post a breakdown ourselves for whatever we can't find. So if you audition more, you're going to get more of that stuff. That's just the reality of it. So again, not to be too redundant, you got to be on people's minds, and you got to be remembered as something. Being a hard worker, being good at your job, like being good at acting, that's a given. But in addition to that, what kind of actor, what kind of role specifically, and what kind of world do you do best in? So now that you kind of think that way, and you can take a branding quiz, I have something to help you with your branding. If you, in the description, I'll put, it's called the Inner Hero Finder. It's this really cool branding app that I developed. It's free. You can go through it, answer 50 questions, and it'll give you some concept of your branding, whether you're acting for 20 years or not. Like, go through it. It'll give you some perspective. It'll give you a good starting point. And once you have that, you want to create a character around that. And if you're going to produce a couple of things, you can have a couple of different characters. Like, you don't have to just be one thing. You can produce something for procedural television. You can produce something for comedy films. Like, you can do different things, but the point is it has to be a specific thing for a specific purpose, and another specific thing for another specific purpose. And you should be producing multiple short films. You shouldn't just be doing one, or multiple features, ideally, not just one. So everything that you see yourself doing or want to be doing in the future, create a piece of content that is in line with that. So develop a character, and then put a set and setting around that character, something interesting that happens. So you have a detective who's lost everything and is sort of disheveled and sort of all a Lethal Weapon, kind of lives a too dangerous life for his own good, but he's got nothing to lose, so he's the best cop, whatever. That kind of a character. You really come up with the adjectives and refine that character, and then put them in a situation that allows you to prove your talent on top of it, playing that character in a believable setting and an interesting setting, and make that your short film, and then put that out there, because then hopefully you'll attract more work like that, okay? And so then you can rinse and repeat and do it for a different kind of character and produce something for that. And this is what helps build a strategy, and also a reel that's cohesive and clear and goes in line with your brand, that you can actually get a better agent with, because now you know what to tell that agent, and how to actually market yourself, because if you know how to market yourself, the agent will know how to market you. And that's nice because they have a roster. On average, an agent has a roster of 150 to 200 people that one agent represents, and none of them know how to market themselves. They all think the agent's just going to do it for them. So when somebody comes to your agent and says, I need a disheveled cop, we're looking for one, we can't find one, well, boom, there you are, front and center. You even have a scene that's perfect for it. Does that sound like you're narrowing yourself down too much? Sure it does. But there's enough opportunities for that out there. If you're known as that person and you get a higher amount, you get less auditions, but you get a bigger callback rate because it's very specialized. And if you have 2 or 3 of those kinds of characters out there, you can focus and you get less auditions maybe because you're not going out for everything, but your callback rate will increase and your booking rate will increase. So produce with purpose and strategy, develop characters, create interesting scenarios around them, produce those, go to film festivals with them, be seen, make that your reel, reach out to casting directors, producers, directors, and agents and managers with that, show them where you're going, and it's going to change everything. Good luck.